You're listening to the Run the Riot podcast, where we talk about all things ultra running. I'm your host, 𝐕𝐈𝐃𝐄𝐿, and man, I'm pumped that you are here. Let's see what we can get into today. Once again, on the Run the Riot podcast, we've got Nicole. What's going on?
Oh, just recovering.
recovering from the race, recovering from life.
Life. Actually, this is the best I felt after a race. So
really, that's yeah. Awesome. So I was looking through and I was trying to, just looking at our past times that you've been on the podcast, and so this is kind of funny. So the first time was episode 103 in 2021, and it was just kind of like, I think you had run a bunch of local races and stuff, and so we got to know you and everything. And then in 2022, it was Rocky Raccoon 100 after you won that. and then we did it again in 2023 after Arkansas Traveler.
Okay.
When you beat Ann Trayson's record, and then now it's 2024 after Run Rabbit Run. Oh. So that's pretty. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't realize it had been, that long of a time frame. Every year. So you just go do something big every year, and we'll visit again. Well, so how's life? How's life been going? What's been going on besides? We'll get to the running, but what's going on?
Life is good. I have a middle schooler now, so that's nice. Fun. He's liking middle school, and just
so
about the same.
Seventh grade,
He's in sixth grade.
Sixth grade, gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Because my daughter's in seventh grade. I'm not trying to matchmake or anything. Just I understand. I understand. She does the softball and band and all the things. So nice. We got softball tournaments and then band stuff, and keeps you busy. Yeah. And then on top of that, you're running and yeah. So I found that it was interesting, just thinking back over the progression of Nicole, and I think when we first talked, you were just kind of figuring out hey, I'm good at this ultra running thing. I like this stuff, and you were just kind of figuring out your own training and stuff like that, and things have changed since then. I see kind of the things you're doing, and so. And we've always talked, you wanted to throw your hats in some of the bigger races, and Run Rabbit Run is a big race.
Yes.
And I just remember, I don't know, everybody here was just really excited for you. And cause you kind of representing the Flatlanders, going over there. And so to get ready, you put a lot of work in, from what I could see. I was just kind of watching, and I saw you running a lot of miles, doing a lot of vert, doing some traveling, and so let's kind of just, I don't know, let's start and talk about. I want to hear about how this plan and your coach, and how things were maybe different from this race from some of the others that you trained for.
Okay, so Ryan Miller has been my coach now for 2 years, and I picked this race because my husband has some family out in Steamboat, and I have family in other parts of Colorado, so it's kind of an excuse to get out and see family and easier to train for. So I went out to Colorado twice this summer, and then I went to New Mexico, just got some running friends and said, who wants to go to New Mexico? I just wanted to get one more trip out, and I got out there a week early and stayed at the cabin with his grandparents. So that was kind of the plan for the elevation and training for that. And then we don't have huge hills here, so there's a lot of treadmill runs. I would do, I think, twice a week. It'd be my doubles would be on the treadmill, and I'd set that at 15% and just hammer out some miles.
Oh, well, what kind of what kind of mileage were you putting in, on average, and what were you peaking at?
Yeah, I didn't do that high. I would say 80, 85 is probably what I would do a week. Definitely spread out. That's one thing I think I talked about. I used to do a 37-mile long run, but my coach has me doing overall more mileage, just spread out throughout the week. So I think my longest runs, besides training races was maybe like, 22 miles and then maybe 16 the next day or something. I don't know, just off the top of my head. But I did do the Sweat Hot race in the end of July. So that was a good, good primer for suffering. So heat training was a big thing. I'm too cheap to get yet another membership. So I like being kind of creative, just running at the hottest part of the day, doing hot tub afterward.
Oh.
I did realize, like, oh my gosh, my attic is pretty hot when I got up there to move some stuff around. So I went up there and sat for, 15 minutes one time.
Nice.
Get out of work and just turn the heat on in my car when it's already 100 degrees and just like arrive sweating at the house. And it's like, it's plenty hot here. I shouldn't have to like go to a sauna to sweat.
Well, it's funny because I heard, I think I heard a interview with Jim Walmsley, and a lot of times what they would do, like they'd go run and then they get in the car and just put the heater on, on the way back from the run and just be hot, and I'm thinking, man, that's gonna be some stinky vehicles. Yeah. So the longest actual run you did was about 22 miles besides the Sweat Hot? I'm just curious because I'm
I should know this, but so peaking, well, actually no, because we went out to New Mexico and that was about 3 weeks before. And I did do high mileage that weekend. I think I did like 30 one day, 25 or something the next day. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and
yeah,
that was lots of vert and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. So, and I guess, does your coach have you run on, like, are you looking for miles or are you looking for time? What are you mostly doing? When
miles.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So when you're on the treadmill, it's X number of miles at 15%.
No, for the treadmill, that's just for time. So
okay, that's
just
better.
like 30 minutes. He had me working up to 90 minutes one time, but it's just like 30 minutes, and then you start at a certain one, just keep bumping it up if you're feeling good or whatever. So, but I've actually like grown to love those treadhill workouts. It's just
really,
yeah.
Yeah. Are you now? Because my wife was she's training for a half marathon right now. So she was just on the treadmill and we got a TV. Are you watching TV while you're doing that? Okay. That helps.
Well, I do it at the Y. So they don't actually have TVs on them. So I'll just be listening to a podcast. Sometimes I'll put like the virtual run. So I pretend I'm running through Italy or whatever.
Nice.
But
yeah. Well, so
there's so many things I want to listen to, like books and podcasts. Yeah. So I just feel like it's just another chance to get some in,
Yeah, I have trouble getting in all the listening I want to do because I have like a couple books started, a few podcast, regular podcasts I try to keep up with, and it's hard. It's hard to, even though we're running, 15 hours a week and working out and all that stuff. It's hard to get it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so did you find that this was a harder training block than some of your others, or was it just different because of the
It was
vert?
just different. I didn't think it was harder. When I was out in Colorado more in July is when I tried to cover as much of the course. And so it's just more trail mountain time than any other block, but it didn't seem harder. It just get me a little excited, a little scared to actually see the course. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. How was the altitude when you went out to train?
Well, Steamboat isn't that high. In town, it's like 6,800 or something. You do climb up to 10, but that's why the New Mexico trip really gave me confidence, because we were at about 10,000, then we went up to 12,700 or something, and I felt good running up there. So I was like, okay, this should be
nice.
It gave me some confidence for sure.
Yeah. I usually don't have too much trouble either around 7-ish, and if you go up and don't stay up too long, it's usually not too terrible. But higher than that,
So the New Mexico trip was higher, and then one of the little weekends to Colorado, we went to the Never Summer 100K race area, and that you go up a lot higher.
Yeah.
And I feel like when I get to about 10,000, that's when my legs start to feel a little jello-y, you're like, oh, this is a little harder, but
yeah, it's a weird fatigue. It's hard to, I don't know. It's hard to explain to somebody like what it does to you. It's just that extra I don't know, like you've already run a
yeah,
bunch.
I don't know if it's everyone feels the same. It's
Yeah.
probably very individual, but I do start to feel a little lightheaded, just like kind of disconnected from all my parts. Like,
yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you definitely, you know, I know you respected the climbing and things like that because of the type of training you put in. What is Run Rabbit Run? What's the elevation gain for the 100-miler?
I think I saw somewhere between 17 and 20,000, depending like which file it is or something. But
Yeah. Okay. That. Gotcha. So you put the work in. You respected the distance. What was going through your head? Because you know you've done all these races, you know, and you've done really well, you know, in regional races, and you've represented well, and you've been really strong, and it's been fun to watch you crush these races and stuff, and we've been cheering you on. And then now you're going, you know, with the big cheeses a little bit. You know, they got elites out there, and so I don't know how much of you were like afraid or like determined or like what's just going through your head? Was it all of it or just
it was all of it and at different times? So if you don't know much about the race, it has one of the biggest purse prizes and hundreds in the United States, and so it can draw some pretty competitive runners, and they pay up to 7 deep. So trying to get in that top 7, I was like, that would be really cool, but I'll be happy if I can't depend on a place because you don't know how it's going to go. It's just try to do your performance. So I was very in my head mentally, like a couple weeks before. I was like talking to Jason, talking to my coach, like I want to perform well, but I want to be realistic. And you can even, the fun thing about this race is you can try to guess the winners. And so they have they preview or handicap the runners. And so they list who, you know, they think will do well and a little description. And I was listed as number 12, and it said Flatlander hasn't lost in years, but this is a whole different, it was a funny description, different kettle of fish with bigger climbs, stiffer competition, but more shocking things have happened. So it wasn't very confidence building. You don't think she'll do good, but I was just, I was honored to be listed in there.
Yeah. I thought it was cool, that they were talking to you and, talking about you and stuff. I was like, check it out. Look at that. Just getting a shout out.
I was just every time I would sign on and I need to stop looking, the entrance list would just become more stacked. It's Leah Yingling, Claire Gallagher,
yes,
Emily Mann, Michelle Yates, Ashley Paulson. I was like, oh my gosh. Just to think that I'm in my mind, I am lining up next to them and saying I'm in the running, it felt like, oh, do I believe that? I don't know if I believe that. So it was very nerve-wracking, but just trying to get my mind right the week before. That's the biggest thing is how do I mentally prepare for this? And so driving in a Steamboat that first day is I've been here so many times, but seeing the mountains and realizing I'm gonna run up that ski slope and then run over here, I was just oh, my stomach hurts. It's just so scary.
Yeah. Well, so you go in, and normally you go into races, especially regional, you go in, you do your thing, you do your race, but so because you're coming in and people were noticing, you get I don't know, you get on the jam and wants to interview you and talk to you and stuff like that. And so how, I don't know, how was that weird? Was it cool?
It was fun. Well, I think they sent it out to a deep list of people, and probably the real pros were I have to mentally be relaxed at home, but I'm I'm so excited. Yes, I'll go for this. That's great. And I got to meet my partner, so you can do the partner challenge where it's one male, one female, and they do the lowest combined time gets more prize money. So just I kept finding a partner, losing a partner, finding a partner, losing a partner. So I ended up with Steven, and I got to meet him at the interview. And
I thought it was funny because when you said something about it, and that was the first time you guys actually met in person.
Yeah.
It's that's my point. Yeah. All right. What's up? Let's go.
Don't quit.
Yeah. Just keep going. I didn't even look. How did he do, by the way? How did you guys do at the partner thing?
He dropped out at like 40 miles.
Oh man.
He missed a turn, and then he said he just mentally wasn't in it. So
Ah man, gotcha. Okay, so the partner thing was out.
no
Oh,
partner bonus this
no,
time.
no partner bonus. All right. So, but seriously, like, you know, I watched the interview, of course, you know, just when it was, you know, before the race, and just, you know, you did well, you represented, and you know, it just had a good conversation with him about it. I guess it was in I met Jam Jam in, I don't know, 2018. We ran together for quite a while for the Tahoe 200, and took a picture at a mile 38 station together. I was like, oh, I'm running with Jam Jam. Let's go, you know. So, but
I didn't know that's his nickname.
yeah, Jimmy. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how he used to do the one of the video things he was doing was Jam Jam. But yeah,
okay.
Jimmy Core. Yeah. So maybe he doesn't go by that much anymore, but but so that was pretty cool. Did you have any other interviews or any other moments like that, or, you know, anybody like, you know, wanting to chat with you or anything like that?
Someone that was going to be out doing the live feed sent out some questions, I guess, so they had something to talk about. Should I ever get in the lead? But so I like spent so much time answering these questions. I was like, they probably aren't going to talk about me. I'm sure they didn't. There's some thought-provoking questions, like, if you could have someone pace you for 1 mile, who would it be? And
Oh wow, that's interesting.
who's your crew and why? And it's like, I was just sitting at the cabin, you know, pretty bored for a week. I was like answering all these questions, like, man, your thumbs must be sore. I was like, oh, did I answer way more than anyone else?
Oh, it's good. Well, you know, when now with the live streams and stuff like that,
it's so exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that people get to watch and be a part of it, and they have stuff they need to talk about. Like they've
like 30 hours.
That's probably why they're like, oh, here's so and so.
Just in case. She's like, here's for your 3 a.m. chat if you need something.
Yeah,
after you discuss everyone else.
Yeah. So I mean, that's I guess that's part of the reason they do it, you know, to have something to talk about. But it's pretty awesome. It's better than watching a dot, you know.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool to get to watch a dot. Everybody thinks it's cool, but when they get to watch live cams and maybe get a glimpse of the person, like they
someone
know
puking, you know, that's fun.
that happens. I saw it happen. Yes.
Wait, was I on there puking?
No, I didn't see you puking.
Okay.
Were you on there puking? Because
I was puking. I don't know if I was on there.
I did wipe out at 1-8 station. I don't know when I was doing high lonesome, and Jamil was there, and they were filming. But but I went back to see if it was on the live stream afterwards, and it wasn't. So it was good because I ripped hard. It was bad. So leading up to it, you're hanging out, you're filling out all the questionnaires and everything like that. And then how
I'm doing
was
like
it?
pre-race meditations every day. I'm doing calming yoga. I was like, I'm going to be so zen about this. I'm going to be so mentally ready and mentally strong.
That's good.
And then race day, we're like driving down. Like,
that's great.
I was like so sweaty, just like even before we got there. And it starts at 1 p.m. So all morning, what are you doing? You're just like, well, I'm up at 7 and just doing like the countdown until it starts and trying to eat a bunch without getting too much in. And
and you want to be rested and calm. So, and I've talked about this before with different people I've had on the podcast about like just I remember the first time I had a coach running a marathon and talking about visualizing and thinking through your race morning and what are you going to do? And then thinking through the starting line and look around you, who's going to be there. And then, you know, when things get tough, you know, think through it. And I used to think it was kind of woo woo, but it's actually really good.
Oh,
you know, it kind of
so mental.
Yeah. It prepares you, but then still there's like, as much as you can prepare physically and mentally, it's still like, I don't know, like when you get there, it's weird. So I don't know. So you get there to the race, and then you get to the starting line and you're looking around, and these people that you've seen their names on the list and you've watched them race, and they're right there. And so how was that?
Yeah, that was like the fittest start line I've ever seen. I was looking around like, oh my gosh. And, you know, there's like people with videographers and like whole huge groups of people. Oh, it's just very nerve wracking. And like people doing their warm ups and they all look so efficient and elite. And like,
They know exactly. They've been there.
They've been there. And so new this year was the gondola premium, they call it. So first one up to the gondola, which is like halfway up the ski hill or 2/3 up, gets $1,000.
Oh, I heard about that.
You have to finish the race. So you can't just sprint up and be like, I'll take my money, but I'm done. You have to still finish within the time frame. So it's like, I was like, okay, some people are going to go for that. I started and I was like second to last. I was in the very back. I'm like, these people can run up the mountain. So I don't know if that affected, anyone's race, but yeah, I think Michelle Yates, who has like did hold the course record, and has won that multiple times. She went for it and got it. So that was cool.
Nice. Kudos for her.
I was like, I'm not doing that.
Well, what was your strategy going into the race? I know everybody's got their own strengths and weaknesses. And so with your coach and knowing yourself, you're at the starting line. What was the plan and how did that go?
So I think mentally for this one, I had the 3 C's, which I heard in like some podcast that week. Cause like I said, I was binging everything. It's like the first third is compose. Like, so don't run up the mountain. Don't worry what the elites are doing. Like stay composed. And then the next third or more was consistent. Just like I tried to tell myself, it's just running. Like don't overthink it. It's just, you just keep moving. Like, there's really not much to it. And then the last was compete. Like once you get to that point, then you can, put it all out. And
I like that
thing, a lot of people have like A, B, C goals, but then when you miss a goal, you feel like you're getting rid of something. So it's kind of like
is it purging
mindset? I'm trying to think of what where you don't have enough. Like you feel like you're giving up something, but I try to think of it as like I have already done everything. Like I know I can finish this race in the time frame. So that's already done. That's the foundation.
Yeah.
So instead of like freaking out, can I do it? Just like I already know it's done. I just have to get through it. And so now how much can I add? How much can I build on top of that? Like
I like that.
So it's like more like you can keep adding versus watching a goal slip away. I don't know. It just made a big difference to me.
Yeah, no, that's good. And that's I like that because and I've heard somebody say that before, like your A goal is getting it done. That's your A goal. And then your B, and do it like that and just think it, kind of rework it in your head to where, okay, if I do anything else, that's better. That's just adding to it. Yeah, no, that's
the
good.
The foundation is already good. It's like, it's great that I come here and finish and I already know I can do that. So like, let's just see what I can add onto it. Yeah. So in theory, those were all the mindset tricks ahead. And then the race happened.
Yeah. Well, but that's, because you're already struggling physically and mentally during the race. And so if you have this A goal, that's a stretch goal, which a lot of times we all have a stretch goal, and that falls away. Even though it's a stretch goal, that's still like, that's another,
you're losing something.
You're losing something. That's a negative. That's something. And you already have enough things dragging you down and hurting you, and you're working against your body and temperatures and everything, mountains. And so, that's good though. I like that. I'm putting that in my pocket. So, okay. And so we all know every race goes 100% according to plan.
Yeah.
And you do exactly that. Your 3 C's and you have no stomach issues and everything's fantastic. And right. So
yep. So that happened up until mile 6.
I love it.
So I started at the back and then, started hiking up the hill and felt a lot better than when I went there the first training weekend.
Yeah.
And that was like my first day on the training is I started going up the ski hill and I had to sit down and like eat something. And I felt like I was going to pass out. I was like, oh my God, what did I sign up for? So hiking up the hill, I was out of breath a little, but I was like, I do feel way better. I'm ready for this.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon after, like you kind of do a flowing downhill, I started throwing up. And
after mile 6?
I probably started around mile 8, 10.
Holy smokes.
Throwing up.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, so it was very early. And then
what do you think? What do you think it was?
I don't know. So you get to see your crew at mile 17.
Okay.
And that's running down like a little canyon, and then you have to turn around and go back up. So I had already thrown up quite a few times, and I'm seeing all the fast people coming back already from the turnaround. I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. I do not feel great. This is like a long day to
Yeah.
not feel stellar. And I was throwing up quite a few times. So when I saw my crew, is just Jason and my son at that point, I was like, I've been throwing up, but I'm just going to keep going because, Sweat Hot has taught me how to do that. Puke and rally. So we're just going to keep going. But it kept going for a while. And I was not the only one. There were a lot of people that were having that issue that day. So I don't know if it was the heat, the altitude.
I was going to ask how hot was it? What were the temps like?
It got to 70, 75 maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 70. But not hot for here, but when you're pushing yourself in the mountains so I don't know what it was, but I was not feeling great. And I was kind of like, that was the first big climb, but there's like a couple other big climbs in this course. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to have the legs on me if I can't keep stuff down. And I was like, I do not want to DNF this race, but that's definitely mentally hard if you're trying to debate, is this smart? Do I just keep going till I can't? So then I don't see my crew like 40 miles. And by then my niece and sister had joined them, and it was in the dark again by that point. And I started to feel better. I said, I'm still throwing up, but I'm feeling.
How many times did you throw up?
A lot.
Because I'm thinking, all right. This sounds like it's
and I know that I was dehydrated because I was having issues with like the urge to pee but not peeing, and I know that's something I learned is like, I'm not, this is not great, but it's going to cool off, and so maybe that will resolve. I don't have any big climbs for a while, so I'll see them again at around mile 50 and reevaluate. And then my husband got to jump in. Like, the only time that you can have a pacer as a hare is when you're downtown. It's like this little 1 mile stretch. I think it's just for safety because you run through town. They don't want you to get hit. So I see him and I'm like, I'm still throwing up, but I'm, I think I'm okay, but I don't know how my legs are going to feel when I have to go back out and climb.
Yeah.
So I eat some ramen and they're like, just take it easy. And you go up this other Emerald Mountain, not as big as the other ski hill, but it's a pretty big climb. And you go through there and there's like a 4 mile chunk that I just sped walked. I was like, I'm just going to try to, get some food down, keep my legs, like see if I can turn this around. So looking back, I was like, if I were to run this race again, I could just do like 20 seconds of jogging, walk 40 seconds or vice versa, and pick up some time there. But I don't regret doing that. Like, I think that's a smart thing to do, a conservative thing to help me kind of turn my stomach around.
Well, it was where you were physically at the time. You probably needed it to regroup, to
and it was like a choice. Like, I could try to run here, but I could also just move quickly and see if I'll feel better. And then I really did start to feel quite a bit better. So that was like 12-mile loop, and came back and saw my crew again. I was like, I'm feeling better. We'll see how, because now I have to like climb up again, and I'll see them one more time before the night is over.
So what mile was that roughly?
So 50 is when I saw them the first time, and then 62 is when I saw them again.
And where were you? Because I remember watching you and following you, and I was, I remember you you were back. You weren't where you finished.
Oh,
and
I think at one point I might have been in like probably like 16th or something. Like but
and you were just, were you focused on that much, or were you just trying to focusing on just keep moving, just get it done?
I mean, I felt like, okay, now here's the part where I'm starting to feel better, and I know that people are dropping at this point. Like, I saw one of the girls, like Ashley, winner of Badwater. She was turning in her number because she missed a cutoff, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what happens at this race. Like,
wow.
It has a very high attrition rate. So I was like, if I just keep going, because I had watched the live feed last year when my niece ran it. I was like, if she just keeps running, if this race was longer, she'd win, because everyone's just drop. So
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, this is where I can start to, gain some ground. And one of the pre-race questions they'd ask, like, what part of the course are you looking forward to the most? And this again was a mental trick. I picked the hardest part. I was like, grouse, it's like mile 70 to 80. It's like a very steep climb. It's going to be in the dark. I said, that's my favorite part, because it's going to be at night. It's going to be beautiful stars. And that's where I can start to like really push through to the end of the race. So I was like, okay, here's my favorite parts coming up.
You're just lying to yourself.
Oh yeah,
That's great.
you just got to convince yourself.
That's good.
But
That's
I really
good.
thought that was a cool trick. Like, what part are you looking forward to the most? I'm like, oh, I should do this every race. Like, pick the hardest part and like, I'm looking forward to this because
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Jason come in here
on the course. I love this part. I love it. This is great. Everybody's like, she's lost it.
Yeah, so I left my crew at mile 62-ish, and they were going to see me at mile 70-ish. And that was the last time I'd get to see them, so till the end.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So I was like, if I need to get warmer clothes on, I was listening to an audiobook. It's almost done. I was like, I need to pick up something to keep my mind occupied, my phone for some music. So I said, I'll see you at Dry Lake. And then I took off running. And then, Jason?
Okay, I don't know what's about to happen.
Oh.
You should tell your part of it, and then I'll tell my perspective after.
Okay. So I was feeling good. I'm just running. It's a gradual uphill up to Dry Lake. So I'm just running. I get there. I don't see my crew. They had like these special glow lights, which was a really good tip from my niece, like so that you can find your crew easily. They're like waving these glow lights, but I didn't see him this time. I was like, Jason. No one's there. So I refill my bottles. I'm like, actually, my feet are good. I think my temperature's good. I don't have anything to listen to, whatever. Occupy my mind for 30 miles. So I was like, okay, number 19 or 17, whatever my number was, is leaving. I was here. I figured my crew would, first thing they would do when they got there is to check if I went through. So I headed out into the night.
Okay. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
So that did not happen.
Yeah. What's the rest of the story?
Yeah, we did not check, obviously.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You would think that'd be the first thing you check when you come in
looking
for your runner. But so we got there, it was like 4, maybe, shortly after 4. And she came through at like 4:25. But we just were at the car, like making food and stuff, because we're trying to get through the night.
It's so cold.
Yeah, it's so cold. And then I make a trip and drop off some stuff at the aid station, and then it must have been when I went back to the car to get the rest of the stuff and get the rest of the crew that she came through, and she did not stop. She makes it sound like she stopped for a little bit. It was maybe like 30 seconds because I went to the car, came back. And no sign of her. So we had no idea she came through. And I'm like, okay, this is the most important stop. We got to make sure she has everything. We're going to change clothes. We're going to get her food. We're going to pump her up. She's not going to see us for like 30 miles after this. So we're getting all our stuff together. And then we're waiting. And we don't see her. And it's like,
this is based off of.
Yeah. And and the problem was she sped up so much.
Yeah.
So she's on a certain course, and then I'm like, okay, she should be here between like 4:15 and 4:30 if she's like booking.
Yeah.
But it's probably not going to be, because I'm looking at all the other girls' splits at this time, like the ones ahead of her.
Yeah.
And for that section, they were doing like 1:45, 2 hours. Well, she did it in like 1:25. So when we had no idea she had come through, we didn't think, oh yeah, she already came through here. So we're sitting there waiting, and we see the girl that she had just passed, like 5 miles before that. We see her come through, and we're like, oh gosh. So she fell off.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah. Her legs gave out, because even before that, when I ran the little mile section with her, she was telling me like, I'm good now. I was like doing an inventory, like, how are your legs feeling? Like, I know that you're still throwing up, but how's it going? You know, I'm all making sure that, like, what do we need to do at this next aid station?
Yeah.
And she was like saying, well, my legs are good so far, but like, you know, we'll see. The next climb will tell me if my legs are jelly or not. So then, you know, while we're sitting there waiting, we're like, oh gosh,
yeah,
her legs just finally gave out. She can't keep anything down. This is it. We're like thinking about, and then as time kept going on, it's like we're doing the math. Like, oh gosh, she's running like 20-minute miles now.
She must be hurt.
She's gonna come crawling through here, and we're gonna have to like check and see, like, hey, I think we need to pull you from this race. You know, you're not looking good. We're thinking through all these things, and then, you know, it keeps getting later and later, and then it's like 6 o'clock, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, at what point do we
send my niece down and like
we weren't actually going to send her down, but we're like, at what point do we say somebody needs to go look for her? So now it's like 6 a.m. I'm like, oh my gosh, and then somebody's like, what if we ask if she's checked in? Like, oh, you know, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that like 2 hours ago. The sun is coming up at this point.
That's great.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'll run over there. And then even after I asked them, and they were like, oh yeah, number 19, she came through at 4:25 2 hours ago. I'm like, oh my gosh. And even after that, I was like, well, maybe it's like a mistake, because surely we were here at 4:25. Like, we would have seen her. So then we're like trying to look at the tracking. And obviously that's not working, right? Why would it be working when you need it to?
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're like, oh, I guess. And then finally, it came back up, and we saw that she had been to the next aid station already. We're like, so we're like, okay, well, the good thing is she's not dead. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But my we went through like the full range of emotions of like, oh man, she's doing so good. She's starting to feel better. And then like, oh gosh, she's not doing good. We might have to break the news to her that she's going to have to like maybe pull out of this one if she can't keep food down and like all this stuff. And then it's like, oh my gosh, she actually sped up. She's alive and she's doing well. And she was great. Like, she went from like 16th at that, like from before that aid station to like about 11th at that aid station. And then from there is obviously just got faster and faster.
That's awesome. I love it. It's so hard to crew. Like crewing is tough.
I didn't realize all of this until like
you just be bopping through the woods.
They just like made some hints about, oh, we waited forever, but then I heard that he was like calling his mom and seeing if it was working for her, and like how stressed they were and how cold it was, and I was like, I'm so sorry. But my mind was like, you just check to see if I went through. Like my mile 70 brain knew that. I figured that'd be the first thing.
Disclaimer: we were working off of like 0 hours of sleep, and it was like,
as was I.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
That's great.
Okay, you're more in the zone than we were. Apparently.
Yeah, she was bebop, and then she didn't have any music or audiobooks, so she probably just singing through the woods.
Literally just like playing over the same things in my head. Like,
oh, that's great. That's great. Well, it's good that you had what you needed, and you know, we've been through some of those things before, where you get there and like, where's my people? I just never expected, like, obviously they were there but not there, so, and I was like, I feel good. If I sit around and wait, I'm gonna get cold and it's just gonna not be good. So I headed off, and I was like, well, that's my decision. I can't go back now. I have 30 miles, so so took off, and I was feeling pretty good. And it's a fun part there because there's like a lot of big boulders and rocks that you have to go over. So it keeps you mentally engaged because you have to look for the reflective, the trail. Yeah. So that kept me mentally engaged for a while. And then sun started to come up and it's beautiful. And I felt strong, and I hadn't seen a hair in a long time. I was like, I don't know if I'm like the last one or like, where is everyone? The 50 mile started that morning, and one of my Rabbit Elite teammates, she was running it, and I saw her, come out. She was like third place at that point, and like first female, looked so strong, like we cheer at each other, and that gave me a little boost of energy. And then I started to see a couple more hairs, and just
tried to pass them,
Just
you know?
Start like David Goggins says, taking souls. Just,
yeah. So one, I was like, this girl's really moving fast. I wonder if she's a hare. And I get up next to her and she's like, what's your time goal? I was like, I'd be happy with sub 24. Like that was going to be my big, if I'm under sub 24, that'd be pretty good. And then of course you always have like a little extra ambitious one. Like I'd be really happy. Like if everything's aligning, I think I could do a 21.5 to 23. But then I was like, well, everything aligning doesn't include throwing up for half the race. So I was like, I don't think that's in the cards. But yeah, so by the time you get to the top of the ski mountain, it's 6 or 5 miles down, and you don't have to take the single track down. It's just kind of the service road, steep.
Yeah.
And they're like, do you need anything? I was like, no, I just need to go. And I start running off like, wow, she's really moving. And I quickly pass someone. I wasn't like stopping to read names, but I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this summer my goal is to learn how to run downhill. And I was just like sprinting down. It's like 7:05, 6:57.
Nice.
Like,
what
really
mile
fast.
is it? This is at the end, the last little bit?
This is like 95.
Nice.
And so you can have someone join you at like the gondola and run down with you. So my niece was there and she's like, let's go, like screaming at me and so excited. And so I'm running with her. She's like, this is epic. I was like, feeling good. We're running. She's like, do you want to know what place you are? I was like, don't tell me. I don't want to know. And then we run by some guys and they're like, you're going for that hair money, or go get that hair money. And I was like, am I going to get money? Like, oh yeah. I was like, oh my gosh.
Let's go.
Just like running and yeah. And I think, I was like trying to talk to her, to text them, like, are they there? Are his grandparents there who are bringing my daughter? And, like trying to make sure everyone's going to be ready. And
she's trying to text running a 7 minutes downhill.
I know. My Strava says I have 2 like 6:24s or something. It's all gravity. It's just like
but still.
And Kaylee did send a video, like when she first joined Nicole. She sent a video and it was like the shakiest thing ever. She's like,
That's awesome.
So at that point is just running on just like sheer excitement. I'm like, I don't know what place I am, but I'm going to find out when I cross, and it'll be really exciting. I'm in top 7. That is incredible. Then you like have to go over these little rocks, and my daughter jumped in with me to run through.
So
cool. And I guess they didn't know who I was because someone sent the live feed afterward, like, here comes someone. I don't think she's a hare. I was like, wow, what about me said I don't think she's a hare.
Jamil interviewed me.
They're like, we're trying to figure out, we can't see her bib. And some of my running friends here were like typing in the live chat, it's Nicole Laughton. It's Nicole Laughton. Your mom was like, I was yelling at the TV, it's Nicole.
That's awesome.
So I sit down and I was like, what place did I get? And my time was 21:52. So
yeah. Fantastic.
Very happy with that. And then they told me I was 5th place. I was like, oh my gosh. Like I was thinking 10 would be great. Squeaking into 7th is awesome. But 5th place, that's really cool. So like hugs and everything, and just the rest of the day I was zonked. Oh, my niece she ran it the year before. She's like, do you want an IV? I was like, are they just handing them out? Sure. So she went to ask about them, and they weren't there yet. And so we're driving through town. Like, do you need an IV? I was like, I did throw up a lot. Why don't we stop at the urgent care? We have great insurance through the fire. And they were just like so bored, I think, that day. I was like the only person there for a while. So they're like, yeah, got me hooked up on an IV. And then I was like coughing to the dust, and they gave me like a breathing treatment. I was like, have warm blankets. I'm like, okay, I can't get used to this for every race. This is ridiculous. It helped me recover.
Well, that's what I heard. I remember one race I was at, they were offering it, like you could pay a little bit at the end of the race and do an IV or something like that after it. And so I was like,
well, Arkansas Traveler, it was just like they were there. And I did try to get one, but it didn't go in.
Too dehydrated.
Yeah, that one didn't work. So, that day is just kind of like the excitement and, everyone telling their stories and what happened. And
so cool.
I had made reservations to go to the hot springs the next day But I had made it for 10 o'clock. And then I realized that the award ceremony was I made the reservations. Like, you know what? Just in case, shoot your shot. I'll make a reservation for 12 also, in case I have to go to the award ceremony. Like, I don't know. You just want to be prepared. And so I was so happy to have to cancel my reservation. Like, well, we got to go to the award ceremony. And I'd actually get to meet all these people. So, like Leah and Arlen Glick. He didn't run this year, but he was there. So I got a picture with him.
I saw your picture together. I was like, yeah, my people.
Yeah. So it was super exciting. And then they start announcing, the prizes and stuff. And then 7th place female. And it was Michelle, who had been 8th. And I was like, what's going on? So we're whispering.
Yeah.
And then 5th place was not me. And then 4th place, Nicole Laughton. I was like, what in the world? That's an extra $2,000.
Really? I was gonna ask what the prize money was.
It went from 5th place was $1,500 to $3,500 for 4th.
Fantastic.
If you can run 1st place, it's $15,000.
That's
so
okay.
I was like, I don't know what happened, but that's awesome. So my niece and sister had seen that morning that the results had changed, but they didn't want to say anything to me in case, we didn't know what was going on. So they didn't say anything, and that's what I found out then. So it was a really awesome race because Emily Mann from Canada broke the record, first female to go sub 20. She did 19 something.
1948. Amazing. I have it listed here because I was going to talk about the times. And
yes.
Yeah.
And then Leah was 2nd, and then Barrett was 3rd. And then so Shay from, I don't know where she lives. She was in Boulder for the summer. She's young, and she was, her family was crewing with Jason for some, they were sharing some space. So he got to talk to them. And so they were at the finish line when we were, and, just congratulations, And unfortunately she had missed part of the course going through one of the aid stations. You kind of go through it twice on Emerald, and one of the one of the volunteers had just pointed her in the wrong direction. And so I don't know how it kind of came up after the race. Someone emailed or something, the time didn't work. So she sent in her files to check, and it's like, yes, you missed this. And she's like, I understand. It's my responsibility, but I just went, and it's just heartbreaking. She's like, because she had to take a DNF. I don't care about the money, but I ran 100 miles. I wish you could just adjust the time. It's it feels like you go through all that to get a DNF. But so, every runner understands that could happen.
It could happen. It's hard.
You're not even thinking. You're just going, and you're just
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I think we're all you did amazing.
Yeah.
You'll be back, but it's definitely understandable to be heartbroken.
Well, I wanted to point out that you were just 11 minutes behind 3rd place.
Oh, behind Barrett? Yeah.
21:41, and you were 21:52. Is that right?
Yeah, because it was 10 minutes between 4th, or between Shay and Barrett, and then 11 minutes between us two. So it was pretty close.
Yeah. Hey,
I was not close to the first two, but it's pretty stacked after that.
Okay. So winning was 1948, and then, but you were right there, girl. Be proud of yourself. I hope you are. I'm very,
I did not win, and I'm so happy to have a 4th place. I was, yeah. But I do think another, the lies you tell yourself, I was like, I'm a strong finisher. I finished strong. I close hard. I just told myself as I was running, and when I'd pass someone, I can't walk now because I got to look strong. Mental games,
Yes. Yeah.
So I was looking, there's a 30-mile section on Strava. And it's just Strava, so it's not everyone that's ever run it. But you can see how fast everyone ran that section. Emily, and then I think mine is the next fastest, and then Leah, and then Addie Bracy, who won it in 21, and then the next ones are all girls from this year. So so many girls finished that one. Women.
Yeah.
Finished that really fast. But I was like, look at my name with all these people.
That's
the first
awesome.
half of the race, not that great, but look at this segment. So I was happy. I was very, I was proud of my results there, you know.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can't control everything, but I can have like a performance standard. No matter what happens, I'm gonna go and put everything into it.
Yeah.
I did want to like represent Flatlanders. It sounds like I don't know, like kind of self-important to be like, I represent Oklahoma. But it's like I want it to be like,
yeah,
you know, it's not always just people that live in Boulder or like travel in vans all across the United States that can go and run and compete and,
yeah,
you know, try to show up on the podium. So
no, you represented well, and we're proud of you. Like, you're like, you know, that's our girl, you know. we're on Team Nicole, all right. So,
and it was fun out there because I know there were some other people that I didn't know, but you know, mutual friends were out there running or pacing. So someone's like, "Oh, Red Coyote hat, are you from Oklahoma?" Like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, you're doing so good." And you know, it's just so fun to like small little running world.
that's so cool. So looking back and to think that you still were able to be in the money and fourth place finish after such a rough beginning. So thinking back, like if you were to go back or if you could replay the day, what would you have done differently? Because they're all a learning experience. Like you don't know until you know.
Yeah, like I said, I feel like the only place where I could have made some few minutes realistically was that 4-mile climb. It's a pretty steep road, but if I just said, you know, I'm gonna do 30 seconds, that'd be a few minutes. So
yeah.
I think that everything
That and
else
if you could
was,
figure out what made you puke.
yeah, I don't know that, but you know.
Man, what a cool adventure. You know, and I think you can, you know, looking at what the training you did, the traveling, you know, to go in, like you put the work in, like you earned that. You know, it's not like you just showed up and did it. Like you trained hard for that, and then to see it kind of, you know, come to fruition and you do so well. I don't know. It's a good example to others on, you know, give it a shot, like work hard and go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Do away with excuses. Like, I'm a Flatlander. Yeah, just go for it. Just do it. Just try it. You know,
I definitely was like a point of privilege. Like, I'm a Flatlander, but I did go out to the mountains 3 times this summer.
That's
Not
right.
everyone can do that. So it's like, I understand, like, it's hard if you, you know, have a life.
Well, you got a life. Your mom, your wife. You know, you got things you do. So you just figured it out. And kudos to your hubby. You know, for hey,
everything.
You had a lot to do with that too. Even though she snubbed you at the aid station. You know.
You know, I thought to feel bad, but at the moment I couldn't feel bad. I just felt like, are you kidding me? You let us worry for 2 hours? I was more mad than feeling bad. And then the next day I was like, hey, sorry we missed you.
Yeah. That's right. That's good. That's so good. So you said you recovered pretty well. Do you feel like we're you know, percentage wise, where are you right now? And this was how many weeks out are we?
2 weeks ago.
Okay. So where are you right now?
100%.
You feel 100%, but I bet you if you went on a really long run, you know that deep down.
No, this was honestly the best I felt. Because sometimes, like, I always take a week off from running, and sometimes that week doesn't feel like enough. And this time, nothing hurt. I think is maybe just because it's more hiking. I don't know. It's a lot of variety in terrain, so maybe that helped. And I don't know, but I felt good.
The IV.
The IV, the breathing treatment. I was like hacking on dust. I was like choking. She's like, "Do you need something?" I was like, "Yeah." So I felt good enough to do something dumb.
Okay.
I asked my coach. I was like, "What about this race?" He's like, "You know, if you're feeling good, logistics are easy. Go for it." So I'm going to run Pumpkin Holler.
I saw that. I said, I thought she was volunteering, but I saw her name's up there. I said, maybe she changed her mind. No, you go do it, girl. That's awesome.
I was like, that one will probably hurt more though, because it's flat.
Well, it's flat.
Okay.
But it's got some, have you been out there at all?
No.
It's got some uppy downy.
I was like, that's like the best time of year is through this beautiful course. I don't know. I think it'll be fun.
I think
so.
I'll be cheering for you, but also Chad's running it too, so I got to cheer for him too.
Chad and Joel. So yeah. I'm like, I want to break the female record, but I'm not in 100% to compete against the guys.
Well, I think if you're really recovered, I think you can do well on that course. I think that's a course that would, especially with the training that you've done. I think you'll do well with it, and it being a looped course, there's frequent aid stations, so much so that sometimes you probably just fly through a couple of them, a few of them on each loop. So, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what transpires. I was planning on going out to do it, but my wife told me I had something else, so I won't be there.
How's your knee feeling?
It's getting there. I put in an 80-mile week last week, and so it's a recovery week this week, and so mostly flat though. I hadn't hit the trails much yet, and so did 20 miles yesterday, and a little bit of swelling, but it doesn't hurt. So I'm just kind of feeling it out, and I'd like to get 100 in before the end of the year. Yeah. But we'll see. I might end up on doing the Dreadmill 100 or something to get something done. I know I've done it twice already, and that's just soul sucking. But we'll see. We'll see about it. But anyway, so no, that's exciting. I'll be something else. I'm gonna have to follow along and see what's happening. I'll be texting people who I know are at the aid stations and like, what's up? What's going on? Well, after, I mean, is that going to be kind of you closing out the year doing Pumpkin Holler, and are you got anything else that you're kind of on the horizon? Or
well, I just added that I'm actually running the Salina Crossroads Marathon, and I planned on racing that. So
when is that?
November 2nd. So that'll be 2 weeks after Pumpkin Holler. So I don't know. These aren't my 8-goal races. I'm
just tacking them on while you're feeling good.
Okay. Yeah, pacing Route 66.
Oh, nice! I'll be out there. I won't be racing it hard or anything, but I'll be there. What group are you pacing?
The 340. Last year I did the 345, so they moved the times. I'm like, ooh,
oh yeah,
that's kind of spicy on those hills.
yeah, because that's a deceptively harder course than you would think.
No
it would
one finished with me last year, so I'm be even more lonely. I have a feeling.
I might try to run with you. I think I'll be about in that kind of shape because I've just been doing longer stuff, but I haven't been doing so. Yeah, we might hang out. We'll see. Share some miles.
Yeah, and then next year I'm just kind of like looking at the races and trying to figure out what I want to do. I think I want to do Bighorn 100.
Okay.
And maybe Javelina. So
nice. Okay. Those are some out of the box races for you. That's good. I like that. I like that you're thinking about other things. And are you putting your name in for states?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Of course, that's always like a given.
My niece pointed out, well, Run Rabbit is a qualifier for Hard Rock. I was like, okay, I don't think my one ticket will get it, but what would I even do if they drew my name? She's like, well, I just want to pace you there. I was like, well, you're going to have to carry me up and down the hills, but I'd probably be dumb enough if they picked me and I'm like, well, I have to go. I was chosen.
Well, yeah. You'd have to. I mean, come on.
Go do stair climber every day. I don't know.
Oh, man. Well, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast. And like I said, I'm a fan. It's been fun, just following you along. And I love that you're challenging yourself and you're getting outside of, maybe your comfort zone, but still going for it. And then, and you're representing well. So good job. Like sincerely, good job.
It's always fun to catch up.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Well, we've got to do it again next year, if not before. So we'll plan on it. Is there any, like, I don't ask this a whole lot, but I know you're on the, you have sponsors and stuff. You're on the Run Rabbit team. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know if you would want to do a shout out to them or anything else you got. Yeah.
So I'm on the Rabbit Trail Elite.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know they made shoes.
Yeah. So they just came out with a shoe. And
I just saw that.
I bought the first one and then it was comfortable. There was a couple issues, but then they fixed it and I got another pair. And honestly, I really like it. I've
Really?
been like, after this race, I've been trying my different shoes. I'm like, these are the most comfortable ones for my feet right now. So,
All right.
yeah.
Good deal. Well, keep it up and, just keep doing the things and try to not get injured in doing these back-to-back races. But
I know.
I'll be cheering for you. So.
Okay, I'll see you out there.
All right. Take care.